about that.
Here's some of the original reasons that we started discussing this back in 2012, I think it was. We looked around and said totally online clubs would be a great way for Toastmasters to expand, first of all, into rural areas that didn't have enough people to get 20 people to start a club. Another example was a senior citizens home. Let's say you've got a lot of them, and out of that population, you may have 5 people that are, yes, Toastmasters would be great for us, a lot of fun, but that's not enough to start a club. But if you had 5 of them coming together online, you now have 25 people, which you can charter a club. So it's a way to expand out the Toastmasters program, because we all are Toastmasters. We know it is a great program, and it helps a lot of people. It builds their confidence. That's what I tell people. It builds confidence more than anything else. So that was the original theory of why we started doing the study groups and that kind of thing for this. The other thing you look at is how much of business now is done online. How do you know how to conduct yourself, slow down your gestures? There's a lot of techniques that you can learn presenting online that you don't have a way to do it with the current manuals. And even though we do follow the Toastmasters manuals and what we do, we look at it from an online standpoint. From the hybrid clubs or the joint clubs that allows that, the thing you get there is actually from a membership standpoint. What's happening is people travel so much now. And if they have the ability to connect in, one, they will continue their Toastmaster skills. And a lot of them are leaders. And even if you're connected online, you will get the leadership that they can give to you and to the club. And again, same like the full online clubs, expand out their skills and techniques. The neatest thing that I find from the totally online clubs is the camaraderie. We would start like we did this one 30 minutes ahead of time. We would test everything out. But what was interesting is after the meetings were over, we stayed for 3 hours. We knew about each other's families. We told jokes. I got more close to people in the online community than I did with some of my club members in the regular clubs. And looking here, I met Julie last year in D.C. for the first time, Marty in D.C. for the first time. Matilda, I am going to make it to Germany. I want to meet you in person.
Yeah! How about Lagos, Nigeria?
Kim Hahn came into Houston for a business meeting, and I drove 6 hours from Dallas to Houston to have lunch with her and then drove back. It's those kind of things that you get with this online community. It is stronger, in my opinion, than some of the regular clubs, but you learn a lot of things. Back to you, Susan, and I hope I answered your question well.
You did, and believe me, Manhal, I have said the same thing, and there are people who kind of go, oh no, you can't possibly. And then I say, well, let me tell you, I have a very, very dear friend who is most of the time in London. And last year came to Washington, D.C. Julie and I were so happy to be able to give you a big old-fashioned hug. And today, here I am seeing Paul White, who it's been too long. I'm going to have to travel over to Guts just to give you a hug, Paul
There
White.
you go. And what was interesting, I was telling Carol this, it was really neat the time that everybody in the club was working on the storytelling manual. And so you get to hear stories and fables and all kinds of things, folk tales from around the world. That, to me, is one of the biggest advantages of any kind of online, even if it's the mixture clubs or the fully online, is the experience from other people, because it brings people closer when they understand and get that cultural reference.
I also want to add to that, it's not just the stories and the communication, but it's also the leadership side. Like in our club, Online Presenters, we've had some dialogue about what the different roles really mean and how we apply them within our own countries. And they're very different. So that's pretty cool too.
Yes, it is.
I've taken some of those back to our clubs. From the Australia, New Zealand area, the tabletop evaluator. Every club I'm involved with now the top evaluator. So that's really cool. But anyway, we're done, Susan. I got to go eat.
Thank you, Carol, for your perceptions, for coming on with Manhal. That's lovely. One of these yeah. All right. Thank you.
We'll say, yeah, we're signing off.
Who else has something that they'd like to share with the group?
I think she was.
Adrienne, you have some.
Yes,
Go ahead.
hi. I'd like to say that the advantage that I like about the online clubs is that you can have more opportunities to speak. There are some clubs where there's not enough speaking opportunities, so you may only speak once a month or once every other month. And the online communities give you opportunities that you can participate in more roles than you probably would ever do in your club in a shorter amount of time. And I think that's amazing. That's a huge advantage, especially if you're going after the distinguished Toastmaster and having to complete all of those assignments. So I'm just very grateful to be a part of the online community.
And for Pathway also. I can find so many clubs. I can go online or remote. Almost
Yes.
every day there is one. Larry, you wanted to speak?
Anybody else have something that would like to share?
Can I just say,
Yes.
being way down here in New Zealand, far away from everybody, I just love the way every week I get to talk to people all over the world. I mean, we've got Daniba in Mali, we've got Christian in Mauritius, we've got all you people in America and Canada and Julie in London, and it just makes me feel part of the world, because New Zealand is way falling off the edge of the world down the bottom here, and it really brings us all. And I think online clubs are just amazing. When Lorraine first suggested it to me, I thought, oh, I have to be actually on the screen, and people will be looking at me. But I'm used to that now, and I just love it. And I love seeing everybody else. And it's just,
I have something to tell you, Jeannie. I want to share with everyone here. Quite some time ago, I was looking for global maps. And the thing that registered with me was there are lots and lots of global maps, but by golly, there's an awful lot of them that do not include New Zealand and do
Really?
not include Australia.
really?
Yes, I was incensed about that. I thought, good glory, I have got so many friends who are in Australia and New Zealand. And what is the matter with these map makers? Why can't they include New Zealand and Australia? I was pissed off.
Well,
Really, well, I was
this finance in
insulted. I thought it was
1776.
ridiculous.
We've been here for a while.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what is the matter with these map makers?
I don't know.
Hey, Susan, Heather was trying to, she raised her hand several times. I
Okay.
think she was trying to ask a question or make a comment.
Okay.
I was, thank you. I mean, I suppose I could be loud and obnoxious, but that's not exactly the Toastmasters way, so I'm trying to go in the background here. I had actually just wanted to make a comment about, you were talking about online training. We have been pushing for doing online training in our district for years. I do all of the TLIs every year and teach a couple of the modules, and I run all the webinars for our district. And we've really been pushing for it and have gotten shot down every time we ask. And it would be such a convenience for people that, just can't get out due to time scheduling, due to distance. Some people don't have cars. We have college clubs that can't commute to the TLIs, for example. I mean, if there's one thing that I would love to see our district, our Toastmasters International leadership really focus on, is allowing that for clubs. And I know they allow that for clubs that are far away from each other, but it would be great for our district. We get so many more people, just trained and in the loop. So thank you.
That's absolutely true. And Heather, you'll find I just sent you a note about a person to get in touch with, and that's Carol McCulloch. Carol is a huge advocate for online training. So drop a note with her. Who else might she get in touch with? Anyone else have an idea?
I can tell you that they decided at the board of director briefing that the district will have only one meeting training together, and the second meeting will be how? Online. So we are going there faster than you believe.
Fantastic.
I see a
didn't
frown
read that.
on your face, Aaron.
I didn't notice that when I was here. I was watching the board of directors meeting virtually on with a virtual ticket. I didn't notice that. But it would be great if you can tell me more about it.
Okay, what actually happened is that for quite some time now, districts have been permitted to hold their district council meetings online. It just is that it was not trumpeted about. It was one of those, oh, you mean we can really do that? Kinds of things. You know what I'm talking about. And so it's been happening. But what happened was there was this policy or protocol or something years and years ago that said, clubs, thou shalt not meet online. Well, there were so many of us that thought, oh yeah? That finally, I think that the board kind of sneakily said, well, okay, we're going to let this little group grow together. And so we had Manhal and myself and a few others, brave souls who were not afraid of getting shot down. And we started talking with staff people. And finally they said, okay, we can have this online study group. Well, guess what? The staff person never came to any of our meetings. But in the meantime, we were trying out GoToMeeting because Manhal had GoToMeeting and he was bringing up meetings for us every other week. Well, after a while, the Firebirds Club just grew and grew and grew and grew like Topsy. And the next thing we knew, we were paying attention to what would happen if we started chartering additional online clubs, and we're not afraid of it. And at the same time, we sent off white papers that went to the board members at the time, including the international president at the time, and saying, you know, you're allowing the districts to do this and this, and the sky didn't fall. Well, no, we didn't put it that way, but it was essentially that. And then we started sort of bringing other people in. They finally went, gee, we just might allow these clubs that are the regular clubs, like online clubs, we're not the regular guys. Well, that's what happens. So they said, okay, we'll allow the clubs that, by the way, they already had people online. We'll allow them to do what they've already been doing. But they didn't want to admit it. They couldn't bring it up that way. I said, okay, you could do that. And then we came back to them and said, well, how about 100% online? Well, there was a lot of shuffling and hemming and hawing, and we did a lot of background nudging, and finally they said, oh yeah, you can meet online. Well, then came the issue of how are the club officers in online clubs similar to the officers in traditional clubs? And now that we've got this wonderful, wonderful combination of the online club with the club that admits people in, whether they are together in the same room, and they've got 4 or 5 that come and visit online that way. They haven't figured it out. And the part of the problem is, and I think we're going to have to come together as a group and explain how it is that the online community can be in an organization that is analogous to a district. I think that when we solve that problem, we will have made a huge step. Now, who here has been on an alignment committee other than you, Paul? Who else has? Heather? Who else? Okay. When you look at the way that districts are aligned, the primary thing that you look at is geography. Well, everybody has it figured out that both the 100% online clubs and the other clubs, we don't care where people are geographically. What's more important is time zones. But that's sort of an old-fashioned idea in and of itself. So what I think we have to do is figure out a good way to present it in a non-threatening way to our board members. Kind of bring them along so that they experience some of the same things that we do. And I'm seeing a big smile on Matilda's face. Talk to me, Matilda.
Yes, it is that they have to experience themselves. Just let them try it out. Like we invited Jim Kokochi to come to our Firebirds meeting, and I think this was also a great milestone.
Did he actually come?
Yes, he came. He gave the speech, and he had some technology issues, but he was helped to overcome it. And he gave a wonderful speech at the club.
Fantastic! All right. Now, the next question is, we're going to have some new board members. Do we find out things like, okay, are they in the online Toastmasters group? If not, do we find a way to invite them in? Am I being sneaky? Yes, I am.
That
we will
is
have someone
why.
on the inside who can help you.
That is
Yeah,
why Manhal made a badge and give it to.
He paid for it, but the design for that was done by somebody within Great White North.
Yes, but I want to tell you that they went from one candidate to other with that badge this year, more than last year. And Lauren and Michelle, who are there also, tell me there is more and more interest now about online clubs.
Good.
So we are going in very good directions.
Good. Okay, Florence, you have a question. You have a comment.
Yeah, no, I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to suggest that if the online coalition or online clubs, and at least people like Aaron also is involved with the clubs with online attendance, if we could come together and plan to have one big event, just like you know the way these particular big sessions have been publicized online. So a lot of us are making efforts to make sure we're a part of it. So if you have one big event, because if it's on Zoom, you can have as many people join in. Then we can then invite the new international directors, all the way from the president, Balraj, all the way down. And it could be a big event that we hype, and everybody comes there, makes their contributions, and of course, knowing that they might have, a lot of people are running away from it because they're afraid of technology. So we have to be able to help them, ease them into it, and then make it a fun online meeting, special one, since we're inviting them. So let's cooperate and do one big thing and do it well, and then we'll hype the meeting on all platforms online.
Florence, you have gotten one of my ideas going, and I want to run this back to you. I've been thinking the same kind of thing. Now, I'm going to throw this out and see what you guys think. What if there were a group of us that would have quarterly meetings online, and we invited board members? We invited somebody from World Headquarters staff. Now, we would record these things. Then, if they don't show up, we simply record, we've got it recorded, and we send them the recording that says, here's what happened. What do you think, Florence? Do you think that would work?
Yeah, I think that would work. That would be a great first step. And once, like I said, it's important that all the groups that are meeting online that have already crossed that fear barrier, if we cooperate, we can achieve more together. Because as I see it, it's like there are two different entities. The fully online clubs sort of are not yet fully seeing eye to eye with. I'm saying it as it is. So we must all cooperate, because that's just the people. Yeah? And so if we do it as you've just said, I'm sure that by the time we've done the first quarter meeting, the second quarter meeting, they eventually will get on board. They can't run away from it forever. Right. I like the idea, but it's important we also put promotion behind it. Like everybody puts it on their online pages. We get our district directors also involved, because a lot of the district directors are also scared of technology. So that's I think it's a great idea.
Julie.
Yes, and I think we should do inter-club online seminars, workshop. We don't have to call it training. We do workshop between us.
I love it. It becomes an educational experience, but we don't call it training. Woo-hoo-hoo. Jim, what do you think of that? Hello, Jim. Jim, what did you think of that idea?
Yeah, I agree. To me, I mean, I've talked to World Headquarters before, and we've been allowed to do online training as long as it's not connected to TLI. So any training outside TLI seems to be allowed because it's not for credit. And that creates kind of a paradox. And like Julie said, yeah, call it a workshop. And disassociated from TLI, it could still be club officer type training or leadership training, or even skills-based training workshops. The thing is to do it so we can experiment and learn what works and what doesn't work. One of the suggestions I put down too in the chat is even districts could experiment by maybe having physical gatherings at the division level, but have all the divisions connected together online via Zoom on a big screen. And they could share a training session where you don't need a room to hold 200 people. You can have a series of rooms that only hold 30 people maybe. And that could be a savings for the district. And
wow.
You probably get more people attending because it's spread all over the district on the same day.
Wow. Zaldi, I think I saw you raising your hand. Zaldi. Zaldi, I think I saw you raise your hand. No? Maybe not.
Zaldi here. Zaldi, can you come in? Yes. It is very late there, middle of night.
Yeah. think he's quitting
And
for the night.
till he gets up, I tell you again, Pathway tells you to do workshops online. So we'll have to do just what Pathway tells us. Zaldi?
I don't think he's hearing us. Try to give him an opportunity. Not hearing. Not hearing.
Not up really still. Zaldi just finished level 1 of Pathways, the first in his district, and it was because of online clubs, because he was prepared.
I think what you and others have done, Julie, was really cool.
And next time, tomorrow, we will speak about it. I have to go.
Yep, so do the rest of us. I would like to thank all of you for coming.